Today I'm going to explain how to play the Outermost Crusade in Infinite Galaxy, so stick around in this video for the information you need about how to play and win this sweet new game mode. Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chiscool Gaming, and this video has been sponsored by the makers of Infinite Galaxy, and I got to play through the Outermost Crusade with my Nebula one time, and we won, and it was the most fun I've had playing Infinite Galaxy, and a part of the reason was that we have structured our Nebula from the earliest days to actually be designed to do well in this game mode, and it was very rewarding to see that come to fruition. But I'm getting ahead of myself. What is the Outermost Crusade? At the time of this recording, you're battling against 3 other nebulas. Now, theoretically, you could know who they are in advance and talk with them and do diplomacy and make deals and arrangements, but we did none of those sorts of shenanigans. We showed up, we threw down, and we had a damn good time doing it. So I want to talk about in this video mostly the rules, and this is going to be a 2-part video. The second part is going to be the entire gameplay, where you'll just see me going through and actually trying to smash stuff and sometimes getting smashed myself. But let's talk in this video about the rules, the rewards, and how this actually works. So you can see on this screen, by the way, there are tiered rewards just for showing up and doing stuff as an individual. You also get rewards as a nebula. You also get rewards as an alliance. So you want to be in a good alliance and you want to be in a great nebula. And although you can't control what nebula you're in for now, you certainly have a little bit of control over what alliance that you ultimately play with. And the more active you are in the game, obviously, the better alliance you can get into. Now, you'll notice that you teleport into a separate battlefield, and you can do this twice. There are actually 3 time slots for this game mode, and you queue in to 2 of those 3 times at most. You could do only once, you could do none at all, but ideally you enter 2 times to help your nebula the most. There's no repair cost. There's no resource cost. There's corium cost if you spend it. I spent none. So you can do this basically for free and have fun, which I really enjoyed. So you pick 2 of the times that you're going to enter. There is some strategy around this where theoretically you could, as a nebula, agree, or as an alliance, agree to do 2 certain time slots. But I'm going to talk more about that in a second because this is very important. These times are in UTC. They show the start time and the end time over here, and this symbol is showing the total rewards are ultimately going to be tallied at the end of battle number 3. Now, how does this actually work? To enter, you need to be spaceport level 16 or higher. You need to be in an alliance. You aren't actually going to fight at all with the members of other alliances. You are only battling against other nebulas. And what's kind of cool is that you'll see that your nebula members that are not in your alliance are going to be a different color as they're flying around the map. I remember them being like yellow. So your buildings and ships will be blue. Their buildings and ships will be yellow. And you basically have a copy of all of your stuff when you enter into this game mode. So whatever warships you have, whatever flagships you have, there is a snapshot of what you've got when you enter. So make sure that you go and you change to your wartime crew, that you pop your buffs, ideally before you go in, although I kind of forgot and I popped mine in the middle and it seemed to actually take. I don't know. Consider doing that. And I didn't do any repairs during the fight, even though you can. And keep that in mind because your flagship can get damaged as you're fighting in this game mode. Every time you lose, you're taking damage. And at some point, you would need to repair it, which becomes problematic. But how do you actually score points? What are you fighting for? You're ultimately fighting for control of buildings. And when you fight other players in space, you're accumulating points, but you don't accumulate points if you smash other players' spaceports. You can hit them, you can take out their warships, but you're not getting points while you do it, which is certainly interesting, and you'll have so much to do that we found that it was more strategic to just focus on the objectives rather than to focus on player spaceports. That said, you do get 1 free teleport during the event, And the battle arena itself is a big circle, and there are, closer to the center, a ring of steeples. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And then the void barrier is in the center. These are the buildings that ultimately score points for your alliance and for you as an individual. Now, the void barrier is the centermost objective. This is where the hottest, most contentious fighting is most likely going to be. That is because it is worth far and away the most alliance points per minute. And it's also a hefty amount of individual points. That's 1,000 alliance points per minute and 260 individual points per minute. In a ring around the void barrier is 6 steeples, 2 of each of these different types, the quantum, the singular, and the particle. And what was interesting is that each of those actually gave buffs to you. I think it was your alliance, not your nebula. I could be wrong. It might actually be nebula. But each of them gave a buff. And it ranged from like 10% attack to I think it was 15% health to some armor and shields. The buffs actually were pretty nice, and I think you'd want to obtain them strategically for those buffs. Were pretty cool. 300 points per minute for your alliance and 190 points per minute for you as an individual. And there were dozens of these auto mines scattered throughout the map where only one person can actually hold an auto mine, and only one fleet can attack it at a time. So only one fleet can defend, only one fleet can attack. If you're holding it, you get 100 alliance points per minute and 130 individual points. And I originally, in my first time playing this game mode, I put my strongest fleets in a bunch of these auto mines, and people just kept attacking them one at a time, one at a time, one at a time, one at a time, because that's all you can do. And I kept crushing their fleets over and over and over. And in the second game, all the strongest players just ignored the auto mines, because I think we all kind of realized in that second round of gameplay that although a strong fleet in an auto mine basically guarantees you keep it the whole time, if you don't have the strongest fleets in your nebula concentrated on the void barrier and the particle steeples, or singular steeple or quantum steeple, you are not going to be able to capture those. And ideally, you have a plan going in for certain alliances to teleport near certain things, because although I can, of course, reinforce something that my alliance holds, other than the auto mine, where only one person can be in it at a time, you can't reinforce things that other alliances from your nebula hold. So it is important that if you are going to have another alliance from your nebula hold something like a steeple, that they have enough presence to be able to actually garrison successfully and defend it successfully. And on the topic of defending successfully, the garrison capacity in the void barrier for reinforcement is based off of the dispatch center of the highest dispatch center of any player currently garrisoning the void barrier. So we now have a really, really good reason to have a high level dispatch center. I will be taking mine to 30 now because of how important that is. That doesn't mean you need to, but somebody from your alliance, ideally a couple people, will do that so that you have more capacity within the void barrier. It definitely makes a huge, huge, huge difference to have more players in there. And just like in the Galaxy Summit, stacking is the lifeblood, I don't know, I need a metaphor. It's the freaking crucial thing that if you do it right, you will do well, and if you don't, you're in trouble. If you have 150 million worth of power stacked in that void barrier, and they attack it with 300 million, but only 30 million at a time, they're going to lose. Okay? So I mentioned this because having that dispatch center really high and actually garrisoning these things, other than the auto mines, is absolutely crucial. And we ended up in first place. There is a nebula ranking, alliance ranking, and individual ranking. And the alliance ranking accumulates points over every single battle. So your alliance gets points literally in battle 1, battle 2, battle 3, add them all up, and that's the total points for your alliance. In this instance, we got first place, which was really cool. And there is also an individual ranking where you get the best of the 2 battles that you entered. So remember, there's 3 battles. You can enter 2 of them at most. You choose which those are. And whatever your highest score is, that's your final score. You can see Spartan from our nebula got number 1. I remember running into this player from Yam, and they were pretty freaking tough. I, in my second attempt, which was battle number 3, spent way less time in the auto mines. Still, I spent too much time there, quite frankly. And I just was fighting fleets and fighting fleets and fighting fleets and fighting fleets, and that enabled me to get a much higher score. by being way more aggressive with my fleets, which, like, yeah, I have a lot of really good flagships. Of course, I should be really running around and capitalizing on that. I got 4th overall, which was pretty cool. The Nebula rankings give some pretty cool stuff. There's 600 of these crucial memory cubes. Really important. The memory cubes, the blue cubes, what are those called? I can't believe I don't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, 600 cubes is quite nice for your entire nebula. And your alliance, if you get top rank, pulls down almost 8,000 reserves per player, which is amazing. Also, there's some speed ups and other stuff in there. It's really quite nice. And the individual ranking is really kind of a big deal here. This is where it's like a cubes bonanza if you get at the very top. 900 of the alien cubes. My goodness. And of course, 1,800 of the cubes that I cannot remember the name of. And if I just show these rankings extend a little bit further, it's still 501,000 cubes there with the rank 4 to 10, 400 and 800 cubes respectively for ranks 11 to 20. It's 300 and 600 cubes for ranks 21 to 50. And they carry all the way down from 201 to 500 as 140 of the alien cubes and 270 of the other cubes, which, by the way, are, of course, available from the Galaxy Summit, and you do want to get those, baby. Oh, work on that showroom of yours. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, like, hey, Chiscool, I really want to see this whole thing in action, all slammed together. I recorded footage. I'm going to share the sort of the biggest takeaways I had from the Outermost Crusade and my experience playing through it, which genuinely, it was so fun. It was so rewarding to finally have something we're doing with our nebula where, like, really there's teamwork and, like, we were on voice with each other and we were talking about, like, which alliances are going where and who's doing what. And it just was really fun and really cool and really rewarding to finally have that team experience that we've been kind of looking for and wanting, and that we really have, like, based the nebula around. And let me just show you what I mean by that. In Nebula 13, which is my nebula, we have a 4 primary alliance system. And after the release of the Galaxy Summit, we very much consolidated it to be still a 4 alliance system, but emphasizing 3 rather than all 4. And what we essentially did is we were rotating who would take the center every week, or every couple weeks, right? And we used to just rotate it all the way through, but now CHS gets all of the rotations from SS4 as well. This is an oversimplification, and I don't actually manage this. I just enjoy the benefit of it being managed. But we concentrated more alliance reserves into CHS in order to power it up to have a stronger top-end alliance for the Galaxy Summit, while still having multiple strong alliances that are really based in mostly different time zones and different geographies. I mean, this is our, like, Smash Squad Asia and Smash Squad Russia. And so these 2 alliances, like, really showed up big for the Nebula, which was, like, it was just really cool. Also, SS4, we had, like, kind of a consolidation of a lot of the most active players from SS4 in CHS. And of course, those folks also made a big contribution in our Outermost Crusade. But by design, we tried to concentrate that firepower into CHS for the Galaxy Summit, which, given that you can't reinforce something from another alliance in Outermost Crusade, there's still value to having that concentration. But I think one of the biggest takeaways for Nebula management is that, first of all, anyone from any alliance throughout the Nebula can go in and they can take one of those mines and they can just sit there and hold it. And if they do that, and they hold a bunch of those for the duration of the event, that's a big win. Second of all, so even if you're not in a main alliance, you can do that. But second of all, I think having people switch and sort of graduate up into the main alliances and that the inactives are cleared out to make space for the active players is a really big deal for your kind of main alliances here. But that's enough about our 4 alliance system. Maybe it would make more sense if it was just a 3 alliance system and the sites were split across fewer alliances. I don't know. There's definitely, again, some really killer buffs that are sort of sitting here across the different alliances. So we'll see if they merge nebulas. Maybe the 4 alliance system was the way to go. We'll find out. But leave your thoughts down below in the comments and subscribe if you haven't already. I've got the full recording from the second time that I entered the Outermost Crusade. I'm going to share that and review it, and again, talk about the things that I think I would do differently or do better, which I very much look forward to doing. And until next time, you have fun smashing your enemies.